It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast. The drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
Spider-Man all the way. Oh, what a Spider-Man and Spider-Maning all the way. Hey. Hello.
Hi.
I hope we didn't make you automatically click off of this episode.
Yeah, that's if that's just our typical type of intro that we do.
Yeah. What's another one? I don't know why my mind's in Christmas songs right now.
Doing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh, just like Peter B. Parker and Into the Spider-Verse, he did a Christmas album.
Oh, yeah.
So it all connects, see? It all connects. So yeah, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer released, and we figure we'd talk about it for an hour.
It was very cool, and it deserves to be talked about.
And I'm not even going to wait too long. Spoilers this whole episode. I mean, what we know from the trailer.
We're spoiling...
But we're going to be spoiling the other Spider-Man movies.
We're spoiling everything Spider-Man related. Just assume that anything Spider-Man related as of August 2021, we are spoiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just get that out of the way.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we get into it, so we've got some box wine here.
Yeah. Peter Vella.
Cabernet.
Not like that matters that much.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
box wine.
It's box wine.
It's cheap and it's tasty.
And I've also got Coors Banquet because that's a reoccurring thing now.
Yeah. And we've got
cheap.
a single Fat Tire pale ale here on
and it's
the
sitting
amber ale sitting here on the table.
Opposite corner of the table.
Yeah, it probably won't get drank tonight, but I wanted to mention that it is present.
It's joining us for the episode.
Yeah, it has its own microphone over there.
It does. It actually really does.
So it was just on the table when we started recording,
and it shall remain on the
table. It shall remain. Yeah.
For the rest of this
what do you
series.
Think, what do you think about that?
For the rest of this show.
What do you think about that Fat Tire?
That Fat Tire shall never be moved from this table. I decree.
Put some googly eyes on it.
Yeah. I honestly thought about getting some googly eyes and glue and just putting it on random objects to give them some character.
That's fun. I've seen people do that online.
I even thought about putting one of them on my guitar. But I would want to do it where I could take them off.
Yeah. Or you'd want to put them on a guitar you don't care too much about.
Yeah.
Like I saw a Squire.
I might put it on my.
I saw a Squire Telecaster at the pawn shop today. That would be a guitar you'd put googly eyes on.
Yeah. Or maybe my little guitar-lele. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Little googly eyes.
I would actually really consider that.
Yeah. I have stickers all over mine. I mean.
Yeah. Put googly eyes on anything, and it becomes alive, and it will haunt you in your dreams.
Yeah, or it'll protect your house from evil spirits.
It could do that too.
It's a gamble to see which one it'll do.
Or it could just be a really dumb-looking thing you have.
Yeah.
Either way, it'll fun.
Still become a spirit. It just is a very dumb spirit that doesn't really know what to do. It doesn't do much.
So yeah, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer is out. Finally.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was leaked a couple days before the official trailer came out.
Yeah, I had heard the rumors that they weren't going to do a major trailer for it.
Yeah, I heard they weren't going to do one, but
so
they did.
And I wasn't paying attention to a lot of the rumors. That's just the one that came across my online feed.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised
honestly,
when you shared that trailer to me.
I didn't think it'd be coming out. I mean, it comes out in December, so it is in due time for a trailer, but...
Yeah. And...
it was good.
Your first impressions of it.
It's definitely got me excited. Like you said, I think it did show a little bit too much, but there's some people complaining it didn't show enough.
Yeah,
So-
well, I like a trailer to be enough to make me want to watch the movie, but not enough to spoil too much.
And I think it did pretty good because we already
Yeah.
knew about one of the big reveals.
Yeah.
So
Also, Marvel has showed fake footage in trailers before.
that is true.
So, and like either footage that didn't make it into the movie that was completely different, or they've modified footage. I remember in Thor Ragnarok, the trailer for that, it showed him in one scene with both his eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the Infinity War trailer was also out, like the teaser.
yeah.
And they couldn't have him. They couldn't spoil that he loses an eye.
Yeah.
Simple. And like they also, in the Infinity War trailer, they showed Hulk at the Battle of Wakanda.
Yeah,
that
and,
never
and they
happened.
showed them all charging through a forest
I-
together. Like that's a scene that just never happened.
I wish that happened, to be honest. I think they did Hulk dirty recently.
yeah,
But it's the multiverse. We know it from Loki. It's already been unleashed. WandaVision teased
Yeah.
at it.
my initial reactions from the trailer was, holy crap, the MCU is getting fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be called, a lot of people are starting to call it the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, which would make more sense.
Yeah.
We have the What If series, which I've been watching some of them, but I haven't been like.
I haven't watched the most recent one, but I watched the first two with Agent Carter and
I really like the
Star-Lord.
T'Challa Star-Lord one.
That one
Because
was
that one actually did more like.
yeah.
the-
Like the Agent Carter one was fun.
It was a good introduction to the idea,
yeah,
but it didn't really
it really just
diverge that much.
Yeah, it really just followed the plot. Of
It was First Avenger with Peggy Carter instead.
yeah, and Steve.
I mean, there
has
were some different
Steve has
things,
an Iron
definitely.
Man suit,
Which that was
Which
cool.
was cool. No, the Star-Lord one really felt like they had a lot of fun. Like it was more creative.
Well, and I see people saying, "Oh, T'Challa Star-Lord's way better. Everything ended up better." From if you pay attention, everything in space is way better.
Yeah, but the Earth sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah,
It's assumed that the Avengers were beaten by the Collector
yeah
because
he has all
took
their
the
stuff.
place of Thanos, essentially the hierarchy.
Yeah, it took that place, and then when he
He
has
has
his
all
little-
their stuff.
he has the vault of his weapons. He has like Mjolnir
Cap shield.
and Cap
Yeah. He even has Hela's helmet or hat.
yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, I mean the Collector in the comics is pretty powerful, but he's not.
But he's not. Well, he's
powerful.
not like hell bent on like dominating anything. He's just like
No.
collecting a lot of
I mean,
things and
I
imprisoning
like
people.
they nerfed him a little bit, like power wise in the movies, but they kept the gist of him
Yeah.
the same.
Uh,
In the movies or in the comics, he's a Celestial, isn't he?
he's an elder of the universe,
Okay.
and what they are. Just real quick, an elder of the universe in the comics is basically the last of a race.
Oh, okay.
And whenever there's like the last human being would end up being an elder universe. Basically like I forgot who exactly does it. It might be the Living Tribunal. But whatever, these cosmic entities are like, okay, you're the last of this race. We're gonna give you all these powers so you can remain
Okay.
and like
So
whatever.
yeah, if the human race died out and
there was one person
and you
left,
were the last human,
I would be an elder of the universe.
Yeah, they might choose you and be like, okay, now you can have a bunch of cool shit.
And then I would be
here's-
weird like
here-
Jeff Goldblum or
here's
Benicio
a-
del Toro.
Here's like a gold medal,
And I'd wear sandals and I would have
Yeah,
like
and
blue
the-
lipstick.
and the Jeff Goldblum's character is also one of those.
Yeah, he is. He's
Okay.
the Collector's brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
didn't know that,
they
yeah.
never say it in the movies, but he is.
huh.
But yeah, the multiverse is the thing. It's already
So
happening.
neither one of them is the last of their species, then, if they're brothers.
It's. I think maybe
I'm
they
just-
both.
I'm just nitpicking.
I forget how it works. I think they. It's more like they're not blood brothers, but they're brothers and
Like they were raised together. Or something
raised.
like
I don't
that.
know, raised by
know.
cosmic gods or whatever. But or maybe they're the last two of their species, and they both got powers or whatever.
Maybe, yeah. No, but the T'Challa episode.
But yeah,
of What If just seemed a lot more creative. It
What
was
If
cool.
is like the obvious look into the multiverse, but obviously Loki. We talked about that. How when
Mhm.
Sylvie killed He Who Remains, that basically unleashed multiverse. But I think it's multiple things happening.
Yeah, because
So, I think Scarlet Witch warping reality has something to do with it, and then
her with
obviously
the book, the what is it called?
the Darkhold.
The Darkhold.
Just her existing is causing it. Basically, that's the way I see it. And then Sylvie killing Kang, basically. And then Doctor Strange.
Yeah, get into the trailer.
We thought he was going to be like trying to fix everything, but it looks like he's actually going to be causing it as well.
Yeah, he's a little bit to blame as well.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning trailer. So it's kind of like right after Far From Home, after Mysterio revealed that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That sucks, but he can't really do anything about that. But he also tried to blame Spider-Man for killing him.
Yeah.
With the drones, and early in the trailer, we see him getting interrogated and everything in custody.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy in a white T-shirt, and it
seems like that's going to be a big part of the movie is the immediate aftermath of that.
Yeah, that's going to be like the beginning, and we think his defense attorney is going to be none other than Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Who has... I don't know if it's been official, but everything's pointing to Charlie Cox being recast as Daredevil.
I would love to bring.
They're bringing back some of the Netflix people.
Yeah, because the Netflix shows were hit and miss, but at the very least, the casting for most of the characters was really good.
Yeah,
except for
Danny Rand,
that
guy from Game of Thrones, who didn't know how to, who obviously didn't try fighting choreography.
Yeah. No, but Charlie Cox is...
I mean, he's slamming files on the table, and he's probably saying, my client was a good spider boy. He would never kill any weird Jake Gyllenhaal. He wouldn't kill Jake Gyllenhaal. He just wouldn't.
Yeah. I would love if, like, the first act of the movie is basically just a procedural cop drama.
That'd be
like
great.
Episode of Law and Order or something.
Yeah, it's like kind of
be
boring but cool because Matt Murdock's there.
That would be really cool.
And he can hear your heartbeat and stuff, seeing if you're lying. So, but yeah, we're pretty sure he's gonna be in it. So that's already cool. But then after that, so he's cleared of. He's found innocent, obviously, seemingly. Mm-hmm. But everyone still knows that he's Spider-Man, and that sucks and is annoying and is causing troubles in his life. So eventually, and this is kind of playing off the One More Day storyline in comic books, which a lot of people hate.
A lot of people hate
for
that.
good reason.
It's where he tries to get Doctor Strange to help. Doctor Strange won't, so he makes
and
a
he
deal
doesn't
with
just
Mephisto.
because he's just like, get fucked. I don't know.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
He doesn't have a good reason. I don't think
he's just like, nah. Peter's like,
he was like,
help me, and Doctor Strange.
Well, I think he has the attitude. It's like, you chose to reveal your identity, and because in the comic Civil War, he revealed his identity willingly.
Yeah,
because he was trying to like give support for the Registration Act and everything. Because he was, and
also, in the MCU, superheroes the MCU isn't as expansive.
Most of them don't really care about their identity.
Yeah, there's that,
There's
and
only...
also. So in the MCU versus the comics, the MCU is not quite as expansive yet.
No, not yet.
So Doctor Strange, having worked with Spider-Man and fought Thanos with him, has a little bit more of a personal connection to him than he does in the comics.
Yeah. But anyways, he ends up going to Doctor Strange, says, hey, hello, I'm Peter Parker. Can you...
Why are you making him British?
Can you make because Tom Holland's British. Can you make everyone believe that I'm not Spider-Man?
Peter Parker's not British. He's from Queens.
But Tom Holland is.
I was going to try to do like a New York accent, but knowing me, it would end up coming out British as sounding like British.
Hey, Doctor Strange.
That's not too bad.
I'm walking here.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's better than I could do. I know if I've tried to do New York accents and it comes out sounding British. So
yeah, but aside from Wong's advice not to attempt to spell, Doctor Strange is a little cheeky bastard and decides to do it anyways.
Yeah,
and so make everyone forget that he's Peter Parker. But in the last second, while he's doing the spell, Peter is like, "Wait, Aunt May, Ned, my friend, MJ, I don't want him to forget."
Starts having second thoughts about like
he's like, "Shut up!
What
You're
it
ruining
actually
the spell."
means, and he steps into the circle and fucks up the spell.
And then the multiverse is unleashed or something. The Spider-Man verse, Spider-Verse.
So a lot of people online were saying that they think that this is very out of character for Doctor Strange.
There's theory. Some people are like, "Oh, what if he's Mephisto?" They're on the Mephisto train again.
Yeah, people
and I don't think he is.
People really want Mephisto.
I
in
think
the MCU.
he's just. He's trying to be a good friend.
I don't think it's out of character for the MCU Doctor Strange. No, I see where people are coming from because throughout like Infinity War and Endgame, he's all like, I have to protect the multiverse and all this shit.
Yeah, but he's always like changing his mind.
Yeah, but in reality, if the most of the screen time we've seen of Doctor Strange, he is very egotistical.
Yeah,
and he's not afraid to break rules.
No, he broke rules in the first place.
Especially if I think this is what's happening. I think he's willing to do it either for whatever reason because, he maybe feels bad for Peter for losing Tony and all that shit and wants to help him out.
Because Doctor Strange basically made sure that Tony would die.
Yeah, and Tony was like a father figure, and there's no way Doctor Strange doesn't know that.
Even though he didn't like Tony
he's
at
an
all.
asshole, but he's not like oblivious to social cues. So maybe that or
see, Tony was a high-tech asshole, and Doctor Strange is a magical asshole.
Yeah. And maybe there's something in it for him that he's not telling Peter about. There's
there has to be. There has to be a reason.
There has to be a reason.
Anyways,
and he's so egotistical, he probably doesn't think he could fuck up.
Yeah, but he does. But I'm glad he does because. And maybe there's another reason besides Peter just being annoying that causes it. Because maybe it's inevitable, at this point.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, some people think that, like you mentioned, that it's multiple causes of multiverse.
Yeah.
So it's not just Sylvie killing Kang, but because, Sylvie killing Kang that happened outside of time, theoretically...
Well, no one knows.
That moment happened at the same time as Wanda doing her shit.
Well, also, no one knows when Kang was like... When he just stopped for a second, he was like, we crossed the threshold.
Yeah.
We don't know what that means.
Yeah, we don't.
That could be Wanda doing her shit. That could be Doctor Strange doing his shit. Or it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. It could be because that takes place outside of time. Where they physically are is outside of the time stream.
It doesn't matter.
That moment of her killing Kang could have happened both at the same time as Wanda doing her stuff and at the same time as this spell.
It's outside of time.
Because it's outside of time. It could have happened anywhere.
The way I see it, if you do something outside of time, it affects all of time.
Yeah.
Like there's no beginning or end.
Here's my thought about like the sacred timeline and all that stuff. The sacred timeline is its own multiverse where within that multiverse or within that universe, it is the only multiverse. As far as they know.
I think the sacred timeline, it's not ignoring that the multiverse exists, but they don't cross over.
Yeah, or that.
And also, in real life, I think the sacred timeline is just the MCU, the first, like, the Infinity Saga, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The movies. The other movies are different multiverses.
Yeah, it seems like they are saying that those other Marvel movies are different.
That's essentially what's happening.
Which doesn't just mean, because people have been talking about, the obvious of the crossovers with the Sam Raimi and the Andrew Garfield films. I don't know the director for those movies.
Mark Webb.
I
think they chose him just because he had that name.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a good director.
So, I mean, people have been talking about the crossover of that, but what they're doing with the MCU also means the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes are a multiverse in the
Nick Cage,
MCU.
Ghost Rider.
Nick Cage is a multiverse character.
I heard Ghost Rider could appear in the next Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, that would be
It better be
amazing.
Nick Cage.
That'd be amazing. If there's a time for all you Mephisto fanboys, if there's a time to bring in Mephisto, it's then.
Didn't he die or that actor?
I don't remember.
He might be. I don't know.
They could recast.
But
They could bring in one character and recast the others because multiverse shit.
Yeah. Because it could be anybody.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that happens, and then we see some villains from the different movies. Essentially, they showed a pumpkin bomb from Green Goblin with Willem Dafoe laughing, and it's obviously Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, that's like a 95% confirmed Willem Dafoe. They just haven't shown him yet.
Well, when Willem Dafoe was asked like a couple weeks ago about this, he neither confirmed or denied that he was in it, which basically means he's in it.
Are you saying we're gonna have Jackson? Are you saying we're gonna have a movie with both character actor Willem Dafoe and character actor Alfred Molina?
I think so.
Wow, this is the day I've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's weird to think that they actually never crossed over within their own movie universe because they all die at the end of the movie because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is a murderer. Or an accidental murderer, at least. Or at least
most characters in old superhero movies.
Remember in Batman Begins where he was fighting Ra's al Ghul on the train?
Yeah.
And Ra's al Ghul was like, "Oh, you won't kill me because you rule or whatever."
But I don't have to save you.
But I don't. Spider-Man's kind of like that because, like, when Green Goblin did the glider thing, he definitely let him hit it in the balls.
Yeah, I mean, he sensed it. He's Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is pretty tough.
It's like, I won't directly kill you.
He could have definitely stopped it, I think.
No, I think he could have caught it or something. Yeah. Or webbed it. Or...
No, he was just like, you've been a pain in my ass. I'm just going to let you kill yourself.
And if you watch that scene, it goes straight into his balls.
Yeah. Right through him.
Yeah. And then he lets...
He has like a weird line he says after he gets
stabbed. In Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock chooses... Because he has control again from the arms.
Yeah.
And he chooses to sacrifice himself.
love Spider-Man 1 a lot because it's that classic like superhero.
I'll get you, Spider-Man. I love that. And that's actually a line.
Yeah. But the Spider-Man 2 is better for many reasons, one of which being it has a better, more emotional ending. It's not just the villain dies. It's the villain realizes, he breaks free from the control of the machine and sacrifices himself. It's a more dramatic ending.
Speaking of which, Doc Ock is in this.
Yeah.
Definitely. For sure. Alfred Molina. They de-aged him. We talked about it in our news thing.
I'm excited.
He's in it. And this is obviously before he gained control over the arms.
Yeah.
Like, they're still in control. And he looks even more like... He looks a little bit more classic comic book. And he has that vibe.
Yeah, he
It's like, what would happen? It's kind of like, what if Doc Ock just kept being Doc Ock in that universe?
It seems like they didn't just de-age him, because I've looked at some side-by-side photos from the trailer and the old movie. It seems like they didn't just de-age him, but they slightly modified him too.
Well, what I think
to
is
look more like
it's kind of like, what if Doc Ock continued living and being a villain in that universe?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's back and he's saying, "Hello, Peter," and he could be talking. And they don't show him in the trailer, and some people complain, "Oh, why didn't they show Toby or Andrew? We've been waiting so long." That'd be stupid. Don't show it yet.
They don't need to show
I don't want them to show that. I want that to be in the movie.
The only villain that they for sure showed is Alfred Molina. They practically confirmed Willem Dafoe, but they didn't actually show him.
They didn't show him. They just showed the pumpkin bomb and his laugh, but that's we all know that.
There's one other villain they kind of showed, but we don't know exactly who it is.
You see glimpses of what appears to be like Electro. Because you see but it's yellow electricity this time.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx, he's going to be in it because he did confirm a while ago.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm back, but I'm not blue."
Jamie Foxx is great. I don't like how they did Electro in that movie.
There was...
Although I will say, out of the Andrew Garfield movies, and we'll get to the rankings later and stuff, Amazing Spider-Man 2 I like a lot more than Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't know.
I don't know why. It's, I think, objectively worse, but it feels more comic booky to me.
Sure, it does have that energy.
And both of those movies
and a way better costume.
Yeah, better costume. And I don't like either one of those movies all that much.
But he's just not a good Peter Parker.
No,
but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I think he's a good Spider-Man. But that's... Yeah. We'll get into it. But
Sort of.
But
I have my issues.
There was leaked images which look pretty convincing. They could have been photoshopped or deep faked.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot share them because our Instagram could be suspended. So we're not going to, but you can find them.
Yeah, we're not sharing anything that's going to get us suspended.
But there's leaked images of Willem Dafoe with like a purple cloak, and you can see a little bit of the green armor. Some people, speculations are saying he's going to get an Iron Man suit.
Ooh.
Which would make sense. He would want to upgrade.
That'd be very cool.
In the comics, Norman Osborn does get an Iron Man suit. He becomes the Iron Patriot. He leads the Dark Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tries to conquer Asgard or something.
Yeah.
And then he gets his ass kicked, and then he becomes a Green Goblin again.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a Red Goblin, which is Carnage with Green Goblin. Which is pretty crazy.
Comics are weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's just take these characters and mash them together. But... So you see what looks like to be Electro. Some people think there's like this part in the trailer. It's like for a split second where you see like dirt getting blown up in the air. Some people think that could be Sandman.
Yeah,
which
so
would be really cool. I thought he
few-
was the best part of Spider-Man 3. Like
he was. Absolutely.
He should have just been the villain.
He was great in it. The actor was great. The writing was great. That is the best part of the movie.
But people are joking. It's like, what if the pumpkin bomb is actually New Goblin?
I mean, honestly, if it was,
But James Franco can't be in movies right now because of the allegations. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, if it was New Goblin, I would honestly, I would say respect to the respect to the filmmakers for sticking with it and going all in on the Sam Raimi verse.
New Goblin with the snowboard glider and the ski goggles.
Oh my god.
Yes. But
they didn't even bother making him like Hobgoblin. New Goblin. Yeah, they could have like made him just like Hobgoblin.
That would have been sick.
It would have been more acceptable. No, just New Goblin.
But there's also a little tiny part, like just a frame in the trailer where you see kind of like a dark image of a monster coming through, like a roar. Some people thought it was Venom, but most people think it's going to be the Lizard.
Yeah,
because supposedly the Sinister Six is going to be in this. It's like a multiverse Sinister Six.
I hope it's the Lizard.
Yeah,
that is one of the parts.
I think Tom Hardy Venom, they need to save that for its own movie.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up. So some people think that's Venom. Some people think it's Lizard. Venom, There Will Be Carnage comes out in October before this movie.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
So I think it's probably
it's supposed to come out in October, but I think it got delayed.
Which being delayed possibly tells me that it's probably not Venom, because if they were to make it Venom, like the Tom Hardy Venom, they would probably want to set it up in There Will Be Carnage.
No, exactly. I don't think.
I
think they are going to meet for sure.
Yeah, but I think they're going to meet in a Sony movie. In a Sony version.
See, what I think's going to happen after this movie, it's going to be like a reset for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Kind of like One More Day did.
They're going to use.
Then we're going to get more classic Spider-Man.
They're going to use
not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have complained that he's like Iron Boy Jr.
Yeah.
You know, with all the Stark tech.
I did like that in the trailer, the Iron Spider suit is back.
I like that suit.
I like
it's
that
cool.
suit a lot, yeah.
But so yeah, I think it's gonna be Lizard. Also, Mysterio could come back even if Jake Gyllenhaal is dead, because it's a whole team.
Yeah, they could easily bring.
They could just
back.
like put his hologram somewhere and like.
I think he'll show up. I think Jake Gyllenhaal will show up in the movie, whether he's a big part of the movie or not.
A flashback, or whatever.
Whether it's a flashback or a hologram.
But if they're building
like
to the Sinister Six, so we pretty much know we know Green Goblin's gonna be in it. We know Doc Ock's in it for sure.
We know Vulture. Michael
Keaton Vulture's coming back.
He's confirmed.
So Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Vulture, probably Sandman. That would be really cool. I thought he was cool.
Yeah. So one of the
Lizard, and then it could be anybody. It could be like Mysterio. It could be, some people are saying Scorpion because he was teased in Homecoming.
I think
it could be Paul Giamatti's Rhino.
Out of the ones that
he's like in the big mech and he's like, "Hey, I'm actor Paul Giamatti."
That's one of the examples of Spider-Man in that movie just being a terrible Spider-Man.
Hollywood always cast me as like the ugly, weird guy
because
even though I'm a pretty normal looking man.
I kind of like Paul Giamatti, but
no, he's cool.
I can't name any movies. I mean, he was in Samuel Adams, that like short series.
Yeah, I watched that for school.
Yeah,
high school.
I don't know why that comes to top of my head of things.
He was James Adams, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
And then someone
I watched it, but
or was he
remember
Sam? No, I think it was. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I don't remember.
We care about you, Paul Giamatti.
I think my biggest wish on this, out of the things that aren't almost like practically confirmed, is that Sandman is in it. I really hope Sandman's in it.
Yeah, because we can't really seeing dirt explode in the air. That could be that could just be an
it
explosion.
could be anything. Some people have analyzed those shots and been like, "Oh, that's Electro attacking Peter Parker."
That's probably what it is.
Sandman defending him.
Because
I don't know, that seems like far fetched, but it would be.
But at
really
the same, no,
cool.
it makes sense because in the Spider-Man 3, Sandman's like,
he kind of turns.
Oh, I did it because my daughter was sick.
Yeah,
and
he turns it.
Like,
he kind of turns good. I mean, he's still Sandman, but they do like he kind of helps out Peter.
But he was definitely the best part in that movie.
Oh yeah, he's the most complex character in the whole movie.
And the most interesting.
And that's taking into account Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. Well, no. Spider-Man, Peter Parker's definitely an interesting character in that movie.
Oh, yeah, just not in the same way.
I just look up Bully Maguire memes on YouTube.
Before we started recording this, I mentioned that one of my other wish list things on this is that they bring in the Sam Raimi version of J. Jonah Jameson and have several versions of J. Jonah Jameson played by J.K. Simmons.
Because J.K. Simmons reprised his role as J. Jonah Jameson, but he's like different. He's like bald. He's like J.K. Simmons.
But that version is in the MCU verse.
I see it as he's a constant of every Marvel universe. There's always a J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson there. No matter who is cast as Spider-Man, he's there.
Pouring more wine here.
Yeah,
I mean, J.K. Simmons is the perfect J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
and I saw.
No, he's the most comic accurate character I've ever seen.
Yeah, and last time,
the Raimi films.
Last time I watched Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire. The movie has Tobey Maguire. I wasn't watching it with Tobey Maguire.
You know Tobey Maguire.
And I noticed something I had for some reason not noticed before. So when the Green Goblin attacks J. Jonah Jameson and is like, "Who's taking these Spider-Man photos?" He doesn't rat out Peter.
No,
he's actually like
he does have
he's
a heart.
Yeah, he is a good guy. He's just an ass.
And Peter was like
who hates Spider-Man.
Just there too.
Yeah, but he does not rat out Spider-Man.
No.
Or
he doesn't rat out Peter.
He doesn't rat out Peter. He would totally rat out Spider-Man.
He's always ratting out Spider-Man.
Yeah, he hates Spider-Man. So it's kind of showing that it's the side of him you don't see of. He's actually like a decent guy. He's just an asshole who hates Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But he's not like a bad guy.
But I like how he's just like an Alex Jones guy in this universe.
Yeah, just like an online
like fake news
media guy.
Yeah. But
what do you think? What would you think if they?
We also see
if they had a bunch of J. Jonah Jameson alternates, and one of them was Alex Jones.
I would love that. They would never do it.
They would never do it. No,
never.
They wouldn't. Disney wouldn't touch Alex Jones with a 10-foot stick.
No. Unless they bought him, which they could. I've even heard they might consider buying Sony.
My God.
Which would literally make them like, it'd be like Disney and then Apple and then
Sodexo. I don't.
Sodexo, yeah.
Sodexo is one of the biggest companies in the world. Or at least
I know.
They're part of one of the biggest companies.
It actually is.
Part of one of those conglomerates.
I was talking more like movie companies, but
yeah.
No,
but shit. Like, not even like all those classic ones, like Paramount is not.
But it's really weird. Like Disney owns Fox now, which by extension means they own Family Guy.
Yeah,
they have The Simpsons on Disney Plus, but Family Guy they leave on Hulu. But it also means they own the Alien and Predator franchise. There's a new Predator movie coming out. I forget what
Viacom.
Viacom too.
That's one of the other really big.
Yeah.
They own Paramount and CBS
and Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Spider-Man. So yeah, the trailer. Yeah, it's like here we are. The different villains are here, and like there's and yeah, okay. They didn't show it or even, but. We know there's going to be multiple Spider-Maning about, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have the Sinister Six, you need at least 2 guys for them to punch each.
Yeah.
It just works out.
Now, so they show, all the villains coming out and stuff. They also show a few scenes that I think are interesting. So one of them is Spider-Man. He's in the homeless shelter, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Starts with an F.
Feast.
Of course, Feast. And he's in a black suit, which
yeah, so the black and gold suit. So
yeah, which
they've already released that in toys. Like I already seen the toys.
Yeah, I was gonna say good old Hasbro spoiling things for the movies.
And also
it's a magic
there's
suit.
hot toys of him shooting magic webs. And maybe we'll post this picture, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. And I don't know why he's shooting magic. Maybe Doctor Strange gives him some magic so he can go to the different universes or whatever.
Yeah, it's a cool looking suit.
Yeah,
Hold up
definitely.
the picture here. So it's implied that maybe Doctor Strange. So what I think this is showing is they fuck it up, and then they try to fix it, basically.
Yeah,
obviously.
But it also looks like, I don't know. There's a scene where Doctor Strange is like doing mirror dimension stuff to Peter and like throwing kaleidoscope trains at him.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just him showing him
like
like, hey,
what he's able to do.
This is what I can do. This is different dimensions. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Or are they fighting?
Are they fighting, or is there someone else there in the scene that we're not aware of?
Yeah. Or maybe they're just showing that just because it's
and they're
cool
not
looking.
fighting at all, and Peter's just in the middle of it.
Or maybe they're
it's hard to say. And it seems so. One of the theories is that Doctor Strange. Because there's another shot where it shows Doctor Strange pushing Peter's astral projection out of his body, and Peter's holding like this box thing.
Yeah, it's like a magic box.
And people think maybe that's like a prison.
Yeah.
To help catch people. And possibly one of the theories is that Doctor Strange allowed some of this to happen because maybe he saw some of this multiverse shit happening and wanted to kind of get ahead of it.
Yeah.
So he's trying to contain threats very quickly.
Before we get to the rankings, I have one more question about the trailer. Do you think these villains will be integrated into the MCU? Or will they be just kind of put back in their place?
Not most of them.
I think
I could see maybe a couple of them being integrated.
Well, because I know Sony's always wanted to do the Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
And why recast Willem Dafoe or Alfred Molina, who are both great?
When all the fans already love them.
Just bring them back, be like, yeah, it's a multiverse or whatever.
I will say, if Sony did like a Sinister Six thing in the Spider-Verse, that would be cool. I personally really, really like Tom Hardy as Venom.
Yeah, no,
and I hope he interacts with Spider-Man.
I think Let There Be Carnage is a lot more promising than the first Venom movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Andy Serkis is directing it.
Yeah, he's great.
He did that one Jungle Book movie that wasn't called Jungle Book because the other one was released.
Mowgli,
and I heard that's actually way better than the Disney Jungle Book.
I've heard it, yeah, and the Disney Jungle Book.
And Christian Bale's a tiger in it.
Yeah,
so I want to check that out.
And the Disney Jungle Book live action I thought was actually pretty good too.
Yeah.
I think is the only
I think Mowgli's like a lot darker take, more closer to the actual original book.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because Disney, they'll take like horrible, fairy tale like Grimm Brothers stories, and then make them work for kids.
Yeah,
because like in Cinderella, one of the stepsisters like cuts part of their toe off so they can fit the heel or whatever,
something like that. I don't remember. I'd have to read.
There's actually some really bad, weird stuff in those original stories.
I've read some of those old Grimm fairy tales and stuff. I'd have to read them again to refresh myself.
But yeah, this is probably going to be a shorter one than usual, but we always say that, so it could be 2.5 hours before we know it.
Yeah, I mean, we're already almost 40 minutes in.
There you go. So that's all we really got to say about the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm just excited for it, and it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see it.
I think,
and we'll definitely review it when it comes out.
I think it's gonna be a really cool movie, and
it comes out December 17th, I think. But it comes out for Christmas.
Yeah, 17th. You're right.
Nice. That's a perfect time to release a movie. We'll actually be done with school by then, this semester, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
I am excited for Shang-Chi. And expect a review from that.
I'm very excited for that. Yeah, that looks super fun.
I also want to see the new Candyman movie that Jordan Peele did.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool because it's actually like Halloween. It's a sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
While ignoring the other ones because the other ones are really bad. But I'm
excited for
we got a lot of good movies coming up.
Excited for Shang-Chi. Eternals is coming out.
Eternals, yeah.
I can't say I'm super excited for
Have you seen the
Eternals.
new trailer for that?
I did.
Because it's better.
It's better.
It doesn't just look like a weird indie film.
Yeah, it makes me go okay, this could be cool. But I also feel like Eternals, unless they really shock me, which I'm still going to watch it. It still looks like decent.
It looks like it's going to
But
I mean, it's cool to see like proper Celestials in it.
Yeah, it looks like a movie where the MCU is trying to explore like deeper Marvel lore.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
Without committing to actually integrating it.
Yeah, because they're like,
it feels very separate from the rest of the MCU.
We didn't interfere because the Celestials.
The cast looks decent. I didn't realize Angelina Jolie was in it.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. But it looks decent. But Shang-Chi looks awesome. Spider-Man looks awesome.
Yeah.
And
then the next one after Spider-Man, which makes a lot of sense, is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. And then
it seems like
Thor Love and Thunder. Then.
They started doing it more in phase 3, but it seems like even more so the MCU movies are going to be more connected. Like, even if it's a different franchise movie, like a different character's movie, it's going to connect to the next one, it looks like.
Yeah, you're right. It started happening as you went into the,
like with Civil War and everything.
The Infinity Saga, and there seem to be going more in on it. But
also, I just like
old MCU, you can watch them in any order. You can, if you missed one,
like the first phase,
it wasn't a big deal.
Well, also like that.
Now it seems like you got to watch all of them.
Well, Civil War did this, but I think Thor did this better because it wasn't centered on like a big team thing.
Yeah.
But like Thor Ragnarok, like, Hulk was in it.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange had a little cameo. It's like they're doing more of that now. It's like you can have a Spider-Man movie, and then Doctor Strange or Daredevil will show up.
That's the reason why I like the MCU so much.
Because that's how the comics work, too.
They're not just good movies, but they can more freely bring in weirder characters that in an origin movie or a standalone movie you wouldn't really be able to do because people wouldn't get it.
Well, it's like I was reading a Moon Knight issue recently, and just Spider-Man showed up out of nowhere. I was like, hey, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. When is that show coming out, Moon Knight? Next year?
There's been a leaked, quote unquote, photo of the costume, but we don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah.
It hasn't been confirmed, but it looks pretty cool.
Nice.
He looks kind of like he's got like mummy wrap and like a hood. It's like tactical, but also agent looking.
Oh, that's cool.
With Oscar Isaac, which I'm really excited for.
Honestly, that's a hard costume to fuck up.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could. I believe they could. Batman's also a hard costume to fuck up, and they've done that.
Yeah, put nipples on it.
But
rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. I know you died earlier this year.
Yeah, Batman's a hard costume to fuck up. I mean, a lot of people don't like the Batfleck costume. I do. I think it's actually not that bad. But they definitely can. They're capable of fucking up an easy costume. Moon Knight's one of those. They shouldn't be able to fuck up Moon Knight's costume, but it's possible.
I don't know. We don't know when that series is going to release, but I expect mid to late next year.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think if they were to fuck up his costume, the way I could see them doing it is if he just like wore like a baklava and like a tactical vest that has some white trim.
And a zip up hoodie.
Yeah, which old MCU might have tried that.
He got a Hot Topic.
Yeah. Old MCU might have tried that, make it all.
Especially Netflix.
He doesn't actually have a costume. He just has like tactical gear that is kind of in theme.
I think the best one they did that was like DIY was Daredevil. Because he actually did wear that in the Frank Miller comic.
Yeah.
Just like the blindfold and just all black gear.
One of the reasons why the Daredevil show worked so well when some of the other Netflix ones weren't quite as good. Not to shit on the other Netflix ones. Punisher season 1 was great. Jessica Jones was good. But Daredevil took a lot of influence from the Frank Miller run.
It took influence from that, but it also wasn't shy to like be like, yeah, it's Daredevil. He's got magical super senses.
Yeah, the other ones
kind of
dumbed
them down.
Even Iron Fist was afraid to like tap into that.
Well,
stuff.
I love how in Iron Fist it's like,
there's a ridiculous.
They're taking magic out of Dragon Bones, but then they never show any of it.
Yeah.
And he's bad at fighting.
They just talk about magic.
He's like he looks like a hipster barista.
Yeah, they just talk about magic.
And
he Iron
never
Fist.
gets his
they
costume.
Never actually.
He's like wearing a hoodie. Yeah. And like,
I mean, Iron Fist is kind of a ridiculous character, and I think the only way you can do it well is to go all in on the ridiculous.
Oh, definitely, you have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
To go all in on it.
But anyways, so we are gonna rank all 8 Spider-Man movies. Yep. I also have the Screen Rants ranking of the Spider-Man movies from worst to best.
Oh, yeah. Because we know how great Screen Rant always is.
Yeah. And of course, there's like three whole paragraphs before you even get to the ranking.
Yeah, of course.
Explaining what Spider-Man is.
Of course.
Explaining
because they want you to click through pages so they can display all their ads.
Exactly. Here's the first paragraph. There have been 8 Spider-Man movies since 2002. Here's a ranking of all solo films. Spider-Man is one of the most popular movie properties today, but it took a long time for Hollywood to realize how lucrative he could be. Until relatively recently, the wall crawler had only ever enjoyed the small screen. He was star of sub-series and TV films starring Nicholas. They go through the whole history of Spider-Man like throughout media. And then they finally
Jesus
rank the movies. And of course, this
great,
website's littered with ads, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
I have trouble. I have an ad blocker on my computer, and when I go to a website like Screen Rant...
See, I have a malware blocker, but not an ad blocker.
I have an ad blocker, and whenever I go to a website like Screen Rant, it like...
just has a lot of blank space.
Well, websites, they won't just have blank space. Some websites will like have a pop-up that says, "Can you please disable your ad blocker before continuing?"
That's great.
And there's actually a couple websites that I can't use because the pop-up, it just keeps bringing a thing.
So instead of giving you ads, it's like, disable the ad blocker.
Yeah, it basically makes it so you can't, like weather.com does that. I can't use weather.com with an ad blocker.
Wow.
Because it just hates
I
that
get
I don't have
ads make things free and everything.
Yeah.
It's still annoying when we hate it.
Yeah.
So I haven't thought about this. I haven't made a list prior to this. This is all going to be at the top of my head right here in the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hardest to say what's the worst one and what's the best one. Because there's a lot that could go in the middle. But there's not that many of them. So
yeah,
for me...
And so we're doing the three different main
and we don't have to
franchises,
agree.
And we're including Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, all Spider-Man movies. Some of them include Venom, but that's not a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
it's in the Spider-Verse, but it's not Spider-Man.
Yes.
So I just off the top of your head, I'm gonna count 3, 2, 1, and then we just say what we think is the worst one.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Amazing Spider-Man
2.
I see. I knew this was going to happen because we mentioned it earlier. I for whatever I enjoy Amazing Spider-Man 2 just a little bit more for some reason. I think it's more comic booky. I think it's a little sillier.
No, I definitely see what you mean. And it has a better I admire the first one's costume because it tries to be different and unique.
The first one I can give it that. I admire.
The second one seems a little too similar to the Sam Raimi suit.
Yeah, the first
just with like bigger eyes.
The first one I can respect the movie in the sense of it tried to be its own thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fun.
I think the first one had way more heart to it, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't
and
fun.
Better storytelling with Peter.
Yeah, but it also wasn't very good at that either.
Neither of them were.
And when you have two movies where, one of them's better at the heart and the story, but they both still suck at the heart and the story, I'm going to judge it on how fun they are. And I think the second one is more fun.
No, I definitely see. I think the best parts of that movie is just like when he's fighting Electro, dodging the electric blast and everything.
There's some cool set pieces and all that.
And he like catches a car. But then all the romance stuff with Gwen Stacy, that's really bad.
Yeah.
All the depressing, like, oh, I miss my dad stuff.
They tried to do the Gwen Stacy died thing. That was in the second one, right?
And also,
they didn't do it very well.
What makes me...
I think
I do agree that the second one is more fun, but I hate Peter Parker / Spider-Man way more in that one because he's even more of an asshole.
Yeah.
Like Rhino's wrecking all this shit in the beginning of the movie, and he's like busy making quips while people are dying.
Yeah,
that's just a problem with his character, though.
Andrew Garfield, I think, is fine.
No, I think he's fine, but the writing of his character, he does what they told him to do well.
Yeah, he. The problem I have with Spider-Man in that his version of Spider-Man is that there's a lot of stuff he does while in the suit that is very
The complaints of Toby Spider-Man is that he was too goody two shoes. You know that he was.
But Spider-Man is goody two shoes.
Yeah, he makes quips, but
most of the time, at least.
But the whole idea of like, when he becomes Spider-Man, he has like this different personality, and he does, but that doesn't happen with Andrew Garfield. He's a dick when he's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He's more of a dick when he's Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland does a good job, but I think Peter Parker should be like the goody two-shoes nerdy guy.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man can be more loosey-goosey, more rude.
Spider-Man's a little more loosey-goosey.
More rude.
Spider-Man's a little
more
braver,
quippy.
more willing to step outside
like
the
when
rules.
he puts on the mask, he turns into a different person.
But when it comes down to it, one of the reasons why Spider-Man is such a good character is because when there comes a situation where he has the option to kill someone, and
he's still got a good heart.
He refuses to, because when it comes down to it,
cares.
He cares, and he is a good guy.
Yeah, and it's not from like a self-righteous thing like Batman.
No, it's just like Peter Parker,
Batman's
Spider-Man.
just insane.
Yeah. It's like, but yeah, Batman is just insane.
Yeah.
He needs help. But like Peter Parker.
He's a rich man with...
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, no matter the differences when he's in costume or not, he is still, when it comes down to it, at his core, he has morals. He is a good guy.
Yeah, because like the whole quippy side of Spider-Man is him intentionally putting on an act.
Yeah, because he has the mask on, he's more confident that way, type of thing.
But really, the way he is as Peter Parker is really his true self, actually.
Yeah.
But like, with like Batman, like Bruce Wayne's the mask.
Yeah.
It's the other way around for Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's more direct with Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is literally the mask.
Yeah. No, but Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is just mean.
Yeah.
He's just straight up a mean guy.
In the first movie where Gwen Stacy's dad, who's the cop, tells him, "Don't you dare get Gwen, stay away from her, just promise me." As he's dying, he immediately gets with her and causes her to die.
Yeah. I mean, I would really like if they bring him into this new Spider-Man movie, if he's still mean in it.
Yeah.
I don't want them to fix his character, because I want that to be that universe's version of Spider-Man.
But what if he met Bully Maguire?
Oh, true. Bully Maguire, I think, would win.
See, he was basically... he would definitely win.
Yeah.
He would play some piano and then, like, bitch slap him.
Play some piano, but slap him.
Pizza time.
Call him a nerd.
I missed the part, but that's my problem. Oh, and he would make a gay joke because that was the era where that was allowed in movies.
Yeah.
He'd be like...
He would make a gay...
Oh, did your husband make that suit for you?
He would make a gay joke, and then Tom Holland's Peter Parker would be like, "Whoa, dude, that's not cool."
And Andrew Garfield would probably just be like,
Andrew Garfield would just ignore.
No,
the gay
you.
Joke. Yeah,
I
think he would just ignore the gay. He would just like not even realize that the gay joke happened.
Yeah. But anyways, so you think Amazing Spider-Man 1's the worst?
Yeah, I think they're both bad movies. Well, I mean, disclaimer: I enjoy every Spider-Man movie I've seen, at least a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because it's still Spider-Man, still fun. I think they're both not very good movies, and I just think the second one is more fun.
So I'm going to start my list.
Yeah.
Chasm 2 is my worst one.
All right, I'm going to keep track of stuff, too. Jackson's keeping track of stuff within taking notes and shit.
Yes.
I feel left out, so
I can remember.
I'm going to also... take notes.
So on Screen Rant, they have Spider-Man 3 listed as the worst.
No, it's not the worst.
And there's a lot they say that's actually pretty correct in this. We're still mocked over 10 years later. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 is still the weakest of the Spidey lot. Said a year after Spider-Man 2, the situation looks very positive. Blah, blah, blah. Give a bunch of stuff. It's Screen Rant. But it's not the weakest of the Spider-Man movies. It's the weakest of that trilogy.
Yeah.
But it's still rewatchable. You watch it for the memes.
I can still watch that movie.
And it's still fun to watch. You can laugh at the cringy parts.
Yeah.
You know,
the Amazing Spider-Man movies...
It has this weird energy to it the whole time.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man movies aren't very good, but they never got so bad that they became good.
No, and it's not rewatchable.
Spider-Man 3...
Even the best of those isn't.
Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 is like, it achieved the feat of being so bad it is fun to watch.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there's still good things in it, like we talked about earlier, like Sandman, Thomas Hayden shirt. I think he's great.
He is good.
Also, you can laugh at James Franco, New Goblin. You can admire Bully Maguire and all his swag and all that.
And it's just to be clear, so eighth place, I'm putting Amazing Spider-Man 1.
I'm putting Amazing Spider-Man 2.
7th place,
I'm putting
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And I'm putting Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Those are probably going to be the only ones where well, I'm curious to see when we get
might
closer
disagree
to
on a couple others, but those are going to be the only ones that we probably fight over. Yeah. All the other ones are going to be like, oh, I see.
In Amazing Spider-Man 1, I also really like Lizard as a villain because he was supposed to be the villain in Spider-Man 4. They were hinting towards that.
I do like Lizard. He's the best part of that movie.
I also like that he made...
The Goomba face is weird on him. I think they should have done like...
It is a Super Mario movie Goomba.
I think they should have done a lizard face on him.
No, but they were like, oh, it's going to be more realistic.
Other than that, I like it.
He definitely has a Goomba face.
Yeah.
And I hope he looks... I hope they just bring the same character model for the movie, for the new one.
I hope so, yeah. They should not change it.
Don't make him look cooler or whatever. Just... But why I like Amazing Spider-Man 1, I like it's more simplistic. It's not trying to like build up to like a whole Spider-Verse thing that eventually failed with Sony.
With Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, with Paul Giamatti.
Damn you, Paul Giamatti.
You see him be a dick, but like he's not a dick all the time.
I'm sorry, Paul.
I like Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben actually.
Yeah,
and I like how, and I do think it's funny how he works his way around saying with great power comes great responsibility, because he can't say that because it was already said in another movie by a better Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
He's like, when you do things, you do them good and you do them right, and you think about it when you do things and how guilty you would be. And he says
he's just trying to say the phrase without actually saying the words. He's trying so hard.
Yeah,
you're gonna find it.
No, I'm not gonna. I
really like Martin Sheen. He is really good.
And I love when Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
when he told Marlon Brando that what did he tell him? Stop being a weird having a weird tribal cult, Marlon Brando.
Yeah, hey,
Marlon Brando was like,
hey,
no.
Hey, Marlon Brando, stop having a weird cult.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
that's Apocalypse Now. That is the summary of the.
Yeah, there you go. There's your summary. 10 out of 10.
It is summary. Okay, here's a summary. It is Vietnam.
It is Vietnam.
Not.
I like the smell of napalm.
It is the Vietnam War. No, it is Vietnam.
I like the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
And then,
hey,
Marlon Brando, stop having a tribal quote. No. So this list has Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 7th place.
Okay.
And it also has Amazing Spider-Man 1 in 6th place.
Okay, I guess.
I think it's pretty obvious
Screen
now.
Rant mostly agrees with you then on that.
Spider-Man 3
is number
6.
Yeah.
But not because I hate it so much. I mean, when it came out, I was all over it when I was a kid. I loved it.
Oh, dude, I had the action figures. I had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I saw it like multiple times.
I did too. I had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man Lego figures. Do you remember those?
Those were actually the Mega Bloks ones.
No, they made
the Lego.
Official Lego ones.
They did have Lego.
This was before they did a lot of Marvel stuff, but they did the Sam Raimi Spider-Man ones. I had from Spider-Man 2 the Lego set that was the bank heist with Doc Ock.
Nice.
I had that set.
That's really cool.
It was so cool. I loved it. I remember my grandma bought it for me.
Nice.
It was one of those. I was at my grandma's house and she went. I went to Target with her, and being a grandma, she's like, you could choose something else.
That's cool.
And I chose out the Doc Ock set.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man 3, and I think we both agree that it's in 6th place.
I agree. Yeah. Again, it's bad, but it is rewatchable. It is
Sam
fun to
Raimi
watch.
didn't care when he was making this movie. He did not like the idea of Venom being a villain.
Yeah, it's one of those.
He hated that.
I think it was one of those things where.
But Sony forced that character on him.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where the director he got into the project, and then they wanted so much from it that he regretted getting into the project, but he was stuck contractually stuck into it.
No, what's funny about this movie, the things that are bad about it are contradictory the things I like about it.
Yeah.
So you get New Goblin.
New Goblin.
You see James Franco hit his head on a pipe.
Okay, actually, I think that's a cool fight scene.
It is a cool sign.
It's actually a cool.
It's the first time you see him fighting without the suit, and like
it's actually a couple. It has a couple good set pieces in it.
It definitely does. But
Sam Raimi, despite studio interference, is still a good filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
So it does have a few good sequences in it.
Well, I mean, Evil Dead was an indie movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he ended up making that.
And Sam Raimi is doing Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And I would love for them to bring Bruce Campbell back in that.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That's all I want.
And there's a new Evil Dead movie coming out called Evil Dead Rise, I think, but I don't think Bruce Campbell's going to be in it, but he's a producer. The show was pretty good. You should check out the show, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've heard it's good.
It's funny. And it's just exactly what you want from that kind of thing.
Nice.
But with Topher Grace's Venom, I feel like that casting choice, and he left that 70s show for that, and that show got worse.
Yeah,
I'm
a fan of that 70s show, and that was the worst part of that 70s show when he left.
Yeah,
because
it was like a weird, like he went to Africa or something.
Yeah, he went to Africa.
Yeah,
and
like
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was stupid.
But he's actually a funny guy, and I like.
But Topher Grace's Venom, it just didn't work.
He is one of the worst.
I'm just glad you still get J.K. Simmons.
Yeah,
you still get him.
What else? I mean, Topher Grace is just out of that list of actors who I think would be appropriate to play Venom. Topher Grace is on the same level as like the guy who plays Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
He's just no. That's a terrible choice.
Apparently,
Venom.
he's just like into editing movies now.
I've heard that. Yeah.
He did like a edit of the Star Wars prequels. I want to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Topher Grace is a fun actor. He's actually a decent actor, and it's cool that he's doing his own thing. But God, he was so bad at that.
I mean, he's supposed to be like the opposite of Peter, working the same job.
No, if anything, Topher Grace wouldn't be a terrible Peter Parker.
No, honestly, he'd be a better Peter Parker. Yeah. Also, Toby obviously didn't work out or care for this one. Like he's a little chubby.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. But he did obviously have a lot of fun with like the whole Bully Maguire emo stuff.
Bully Maguire stuff is the best part. Rent.
Just look up all the oh yeah, Rent.
The landlord is my favorite person in the movie.
Yeah. He should have been the villain.
He should have been.
If you guys want to have a fun time for about 45 minutes, look up, it's by Spiderside, a YouTube poop maker. He only makes Spider-Man ones. Look up Spider-Man, or no, I think it's called Spider-Man at Rent's End. Just look that up and watch it.
I'm sure we can link it.
Yeah, see what you think of that. So...
But good parts of the movie. Sandman was good.
Yeah, Sandman was good.
J. Jonah Jameson was good.
See, Sam Raimi wanted Sandman to be the only villain, and he should have been.
Yeah, because I mean, they're doing a lot of villains in No Way Home, but MCU has built itself up to allow that type of stuff to happen.
No, exactly.
The Sam Raimi Spider-Verse did not build itself up properly to have too many villains in one movie.
Well, because the formula of that is like the villain is kind of like a mentor or friend of Peter, and then they get in a science experiment accident.
Yeah.
And then they start robbing banks.
When do you stop asking why they're robbing banks? And when do you start asking why does everyone that Peter makes friendships with start robbing banks?
Also, this is the worst. Kirsten Dunst is just the worst in this one.
She is.
They literally reuse her screams from the previous movies. She doesn't even do new screams in it, and they're already annoying.
She is a toxic version of MJ.
No, she's really toxic. Like, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, Peter, why do you want to be with her? Like, she's treating you terribly.
Yeah. MJ in those movies is terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I like about the new Spider-Man movies is not only did they switch up the whole MJ thing and turn on its head a little bit, but Zendaya.
She's cool. You like her.
She's cool, and MJ
is
fun cool in it.
She's fun.
She's not toxic. She's a good person.
No, she can be like a dick, but she's fun.
Yeah, she's fun, and she can be a dick, but she's not toxic. She's not a bad person.
No,
Zendaya is great. Her version of that version of the character is great.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst's MJ is just an unfunny bad person.
Yeah, that's just no fun,
and always screaming. And that's my one complaint of that trilogy, and it gets really bad in the third one. She's just like a damsel in distress. Like that's literally like the plot point.
Yeah, the Smurfette principle, all that.
Yeah, but that there was something else. Maybe I'll remember it, but in that movie, there's the scene where New Goblin tells her to break up with Peter at the bridge and all this stuff. And like Peter cries like a baby. Tobey Maguire's great at crying.
Yes, yeah.
But she does this. She breaks his heart, but it's like she could have just said, "Hey, Harry's over there. He told me to break up with you. Can you just like thump him in the head?"
Yeah.
And
no, she listens to Harry.
Like Peter would totally kick his ass.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It just doesn't make sense. Like
I just love Harry Osborn in that where it's like.
But I do like that scene where they fight each other at his house, and then his like butler shows up.
Yeah.
Who's like 100 years old, by the way.
I just love Harry in that movie where he's an asshole, becomes a supervillain, gets his ass whooped by Peter twice, and then shows up at the end to help.
Well, and I also like the idea that his butler, who is Norman's butler, he tells him that Spider-Man didn't kill his father after half his face got blown up.
Yeah.
He didn't tell him. He was like, he could have told him way before, like, he started getting all the equipment and like got the serum and like went crazy and tried to kill him. He could have said, "Hey, he didn't kill your father. He killed himself with his glider and all that."
Yeah.
But no, he waited until he became a criminal, until he almost tried to kill a man, until he himself got his face blown up. Yeah. Like, oh, he didn't kill your father.
Yeah. By the way, he did. No, I just love that.
Willem Dafoe does come back in that movie, which does help.
Yeah, in the mirrors and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, and
I just love that Harry's character is just like, he's trying to honor his father and get revenge, and he just sucks at being a goblin. He gets his ass whooped every single time.
Goblin Jr. want to cry?
Dafoe actually got the upper hand on Spider-Man a few times.
No, yeah. But he's like, little Goblin Jr. want to cry?
Yeah. He's like...
But yeah, I actually, even though the face CGI is really shoddy, I do like the scene where he attacks him out of nowhere when it's just, he's not in a suit.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to catch the ring, the wedding ring and everything. That's a cool fight.
And then he hits his head on a
And then he hits his head on Well, no. Spider-Man gets ahead of him, sets up a web, he runs into that, trips, then hits his head in the pipe, tumbles down by a dumpster, ragdoll style.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love that.
Favorite scene in that movie.
I love that scene.
I also love, and another reason I like Sandman, he has this whole thing, like, he's not really a really bad guy. He's a criminal, but like he's robbing and stealing to help pay his daughter's medical bills.
Yeah, he's forced into a situation.
I like that he is the first villain that actually like has, I guess Green Goblin has like super soldier stuff, but he's like the first villain that has proper powers.
Yeah.
Like he gets transformed into Sandman. It's not just like equipment,
like actual powers.
So I think that's kind of cool. But then, the symbiote just comes in crashing on a meteorite with no explanation. I think it should have been like an experiment or something or gone wrong.
Yeah.
Because that would fit more with the tone of those movies.
It would.
Because it's always like a science experiment or something. So yeah.
And it wouldn't be so bad from the comics. Like Venom came from space as a symbiote, but he's been in labs and shit.
But, no, exactly. Yeah. But whether or not you think Spider-Man...
Basically like what they did in the Venom movie.
No, exactly, yeah. Whether or not you think Spider-Man 3 is actually a better movie than Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's still way more rewatchable and way more fun to watch.
Yeah.
This list has Amazing Spider-Man 1 beating out Spider-Man 3. And then the next one, at number 5, which I can see why they put it here, but I don't agree. They have Spider-Man 1 at number 5. But it's hard to say. So the remaining movies we have left is Homecoming, Far From Home, Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good spot for it, but Spider-Man 1, it started this. We wouldn't have all these movies. If this movie wasn't successful...
I feel dirty putting Spider-Man 1 at 5.
Uh-huh. But you're going to do it.
But I'm going to put Spider-Man 1 at 5.
I just can't...
It's just because the other movies on the list
are just
better. Are just really good.
I can't put...
we talk about... I think we... out of all
I can't put Spider-Man Homecoming in this spot. I definitely can't put Spider-Verse in this spot.
It's just like... Yeah, it's really important to me. It's so... I loved it as a kid.
So we're getting to the... We're getting to the territory where we're not like to the bad ones anymore. We're just to the...
This is the point where it becomes
they're all
harder.
Good,
it becomes harder to rank them.
Yeah, they're all good, but some of them are just a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel dirty putting it there. Because Willem Dafoe is probably one of my favorite.
We get character actor Willem Dafoe.
Character actor Willem Dafoe is one of my favorite superhero movie villains.
And I'm so great he's practically coming back as the Green Goblin because he's great as the Green Goblin. And now it's a shame his costume didn't let him emote as much with the helmet. He looks like a green Power Ranger.
But they still gave him a bunch of good
Because honestly, they could have just painted him green because he already has that kind of face.
He has a goblin face. but they gave him a lot of good scenes.
Oh, yeah. He gets a lot of good just monologues and stuff. And it's like when he's talking to himself.
He is absolutely the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He is great. The scenes where he's in his study and he's hearing the goblin voices.
But this movie,
great. Yeah.
It's what started it all. But this movie does have some problems that irk me. Not anything with like cinematography or filmmaking itself, but for one, the high school students are in their 30s.
Yeah. The guy who plays
Flash.
Flash, what's his name? Joe, whatever.
He's been in bigger stuff, I think. Or at least some shows. But the guy that plays Flash looks like he's 38. And they're two grown men fighting each other in a high school.
Yeah. Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. But I can't rag on it too much for that because every movie had that problem for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Until not too recently, honestly.
It's
especially old 80s and 90s movies, in the slasher movies, the high school students
my girlfriend
are 38.
My girlfriend really likes Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Admittedly,
but it has
admittedly I like it too.
But it definitely has
But
that
it has
problem.
that problem. They did an okay job because what's her name who plays Lily in How I Met Your Mother? I don't remember. Some of the characters do look like they could be old looking high school students. But it does have that problem, especially once it gets after the season 2.
No, I could see Toby and his class. When I was young, I always thought they were college students at least in this first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, they look like college students.
But some of them, including Flash, look like they're way out of college at this point.
Here's bonus.
He looks like he could be someone's dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's bonus points for Spider-Man 1. I know this is a well-known fact, but the scene where he catches Mary Jane in the cafeteria and catches all the shit on the tray, he did that in real life.
They added sticky stuff to it?
Yeah, it took a bunch of takes, but he did that.
It took 167 takes or something like that.
That's one of the one of the funnest the actor actually
here's
did
another
that ones.
Here's another fun fact I forgot to tell everyone when we were talking about the trailer. So now I was just reading the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer beat Avenger Endgame's record for having the most views within 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is the most popular Marvel character.
Well, yeah, and this looks like Spider-Man's Endgame, like because we're getting all the spider things together. I'm
almost as excited for this as I was for Endgame.
No, honestly, yeah.
I'm trying to not get my hopes up.
No, yeah, you never.
I'm trying to not expect it to be amazing, but I am excited. I can't help
because Alfred Molina could be in it. Alfred Molina could be in it literally for the portion we see him in the trailer.
Yeah, but
then they'd be like, "Oh, we saw him,"
but that's still cool.
No, I know.
That's still super fan service.
But
I mean, hell, I'm the type of person that got excited in the Solo, a Star Wars story, when they explained, when they very briefly mentioned Aurra Singh.
Oh yeah,
from the Clone Wars. I was the person in the theater that was like, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him pointing at the TV. Well, that was me. I'm like, he said it.
That movie could have been better.
Yeah,
they didn't have to tell us why he got his blaster and his jacket.
No, I enjoy that movie, but it's not good.
No,
it's not a good movie. I still enjoy it. Woody Harrelson's fun.
Maybe one day we'll rank
Donald Glover. I want more of him as Lando.
Oh yeah, he's great as so a young good. Lando.
But it's not good. I enjoy it, but it's not good.
One day we'll probably rank the Star Wars films,
mm-hmm.
and that one will probably be around Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it'll be in the second half of the movies for me.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 11 Star Wars movies now.
Yeah,
but for 5, I would put Spider-Man 1. I feel dirty.
No, it does feel dirty. I mean, but it's the standard, right?
Yeah, I feel dirty, but yeah, it's number 5 for me because number 4.
Well,
this is where I think we're going to really start disagreeing on stuff for the most part.
This is hard.
I think this one is not that hard. I think it's 3, 2, and 1 that are hard for me.
Number 4 is like, do we want to put that movie in this spot?
I would put
because there's things, and I agree with Scream Rant from here mostly.
Yeah. I would put Far From Home here.
I would put Homecoming.
Oh, yeah. No, I would put Far From Home. Far From Home was really good, and it felt like
for me,
it felt refreshing because it felt like a Spider-Man adventure in a movie that wasn't an origin story type of thing.
No, I definitely
playing with MCU stuff more. It was playing with Marvel stuff more. It was really cool.
Homecoming?
No, Far From Home, which is what I'm putting here at number 4.
See, I'm putting Homecoming here, and my reasoning is, well, we're to the point where they're good. They're good at this point, but Homecoming still had too much of the Tony Stark stuff.
Yeah,
and I love Robert Downey Jr., but I like seeing Spider-Man going on his own Spider-Man adventure.
I totally get that.
And also, but see, what made me almost put this over Far From Home, because I think Michael Keaton is a better villain than Jake Gyllenhaal.
But they pulled off Mysterio.
All the effects,
how did they pull off Mysterio? He's one of the lamest Spider-Man
villains. Far From Home.
But they made him work.
Spider-Man Far From... Well, let me tell you why I think Spider-Man Homecoming should be here. You never get a lot of good Spider-Man fight scenes in it. He's mostly just dodging and making quips and that's good.
Yeah.
But it's a really good movie. It's for Spider-Man's proper movie into the MCU. He was introduced in Civil War and now we see him fleshed out. I love the costume. Tom Holland's great. And I think Tom Holland, he does a really good job of kind of balancing Tobey Maguire's goody two shoes, and then Andrew Garfield's asshole.
I think Tom Holland is the best,
right in the middle.
He's the best overall Peter Parker Spider-Man we've seen.
Yeah,
in live action, he's the best overall, other than the Japanese Spider-Man, of course.
Yes,
but
yes.
No, Far From Home. But, I mean, it's going here where the main reason I put it at number 4 is because the next 3 movies I like more.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
here's why I like Far From Home. Here's why Homecoming is in 4th place for me. It still felt like a standard MCU fair movie. It had the same kind of look and feel.
Yeah.
Far From Home was basically one of the first MCU movies that felt really comic booky.
You're right. No, it did feel comic booky.
All the visuals, Mysterio, and the illusions is just amazing.
I like the setting. No, Far From Home is
the setting's fun.
Is a really good movie.
And you just see him on his own, and it's just... it's really hard to say. And also, this is the one where you get J.K. Simmons.
It is
reintroduced
yes.
as
that is bonus
J. Jonah
points for Far From Home. Yeah,
Jameson. But it's just the comic bookiness of it. The Illusions fight with Mysterio.
Oh,
and you see like zombie Iron Man coming out and like all the illusions and
the special effects were phenomenal.
Yeah,
I even enjoy. I mean, and it still had, even though it seems like has a crazy plot that's all over the place, but it still has like that moment where Happy Hogan comes and picks him up, and he has that classic Spider-Man moment of, oh, I feel like I suck, and Happy Hogan's like, you don't suck, you just have to do it yourself, and he builds his own suit.
I like when there's more independence.
It's really good.
There's more independence in this one, and I just like there's better. I feel like it's more Spider-Man than Spider-Man Homecoming because you get
I totally get that. Yeah,
like he tunes in with the Spider Sense or as Peter Tingle. You know, you get all that action. You see him. But at the same time, though, Homecoming with Michael Keaton as Vulture.
Yeah, because
he's up there in like my top. He's like in my top 3 Spider-Man villains in the movies now.
I would put Homecoming at number 3 for me after this, and because it's hard to put it. It's really hard to choose which one goes where because I guess I would put it down to this. I've rewatched both of these movies many times.
Yeah,
and when it comes down to it, I find myself enjoying Homecoming more.
Well, and I love Homecoming because
I just legitimately do. Michael Keaton is.
Well, that's what really makes the
movie.
Holy
crap!
That's what makes Homecoming.
My favorite scene in the movie, and I
know what scene you're talking about.
I just think it's amazing how they did this, where they had a scene with the villain where he's not in his suit or anything like that. It's where Peter's taking his daughter to the dance, and also that was a really good twist there when they reveal him, because of course you knew he was the villain.
What's her name?
You
father.
You didn't know he was the father, and the reveal when he opens the door and it's the Vulture there. But when the daughter goes and he's like, I gotta have the dad talk with Peter.
Homecoming was definitely like a John Hughes high school film.
Yeah, it was totally like a high school film. But that scene where they're going to the homecoming dance,
and he has to talk,
and he's like, I need to have the dad talk with Peter. So she gets out and he pulls out a handgun and just leans over the seat. He's like, so Peter, Spider-Man.
And he's basically like, he's like, stop messing with my shit, stay away from my family, like.
Yeah, he's basically like, go show my daughter a good time and then leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah. And if I see Spider-Man around,
or I'll kill you.
And I'll kill you and everyone you care about.
Yeah. And that's one of,
and the thing is, like, he's actually, like, he's not technically a threat to Spider-Man because you can just dodge a bullet or beat him up. But he is so threatening.
He's intimidating.
He's very intimidating.
Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina are my favorite Spider-Man villains in a movie, but that is my favorite Spider-Man villain scene.
Spider-Man beat Winter Soldier and Falcon like no problem at all.
Yeah. People forget how strong Spider-Man is.
Definitely.
Like,
like Vulture with a handgun is more intimidating than the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, because Michael Keaton just sells it so well.
I love Michael Keaton. He was in a recent, because he's coming back as Batman in the Flash movie.
Yeah,
and he's also coming back as Vulture, which is great.
I just want more Michael Keaton.
They were interviewing about all this and about him coming about as Batman, and he basically said, I don't understand this at all.
Yeah,
but I know people like it, so I'm having fun with it.
I did see that. He's like, I don't get this at all, but it's fun.
It's fun.
He
also said he was like, even though I don't get it, the fans really like it, and he respects that, and he wants to do a good job.
Yeah, he's having fun with it, and wants to do a good job,
but he literally does not understand the multiverse.
I love it. He's so great. Also another scene with him I really like. So it's when it's at the beginning of the movie when the Department of Damage Control comes in, and I don't remember what they say to him, but they say something to him. He just turns around and goes, "What'd you say?"
And he just punches the
guy in the face. And just the way Michael Keaton and you couldn't. That wasn't just the writing. That was Michael Keaton.
Well, Michael Keaton's actually hilarious too. He was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he's great.
He was a comedy actor before he was Batman.
Yeah. No. I would say Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe are my favorites, possibly partly because they're from my childhood.
Yeah.
But God, Michael Keaton is one of the best MCU villains of all time.
I forgot who did it, but there's like this video essay I saw on YouTube talking about how Michael Keaton's Vulture is a Sam Raimi villain, essentially.
Yeah.
Like the way he's presented, the way he has a relationship to Peter.
He's presented differently than a lot of MCU villains. He's not just this separate evil that they have to attack. He is,
or like the opposite version of them.
Yeah,
you know?
he is.
He's basically
a part of Peter's life.
Yeah, and he's an intimidating dad.
Yeah,
that happens to have a big Vulture mech.
Yeah, I love it. So I mean. That
that's tough.
Homecoming also
they're both so great.
It just feels so like I think you're right. Far From Home feels like a Spidey adventure.
Well, and it just feels like the MCU finally like giving in to the comic book quirkiness.
It's letting Spider-Man just be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but Homecoming also felt like even with the MCU, the Tony Stark stuff felt like a traditional Spider-Man story to me.
No, and I do love his relationship with Tony Stark. I think it's great. He's like, if you're not.
Yeah.
If you, what he said, he was like, if you're nothing about the suit, like,
yeah,
I'm taking away your suit. I'm Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I bought all your shit.
I think it's really hard to say because I'm
Tony Stark. I murdered men.
I've gone back and forth. I've gone back and forth a few times on Far From Home and Homecoming, which one I like more. But I just think I've come to the conclusion of Homecoming I just generally enjoy more.
Hey, I'm Tony Stark. I'm a billionaire. I could blow up your family. I'm taking away a suit.
Tony Stark has blown up families, probably.
I've killed terrorists. I've killed not terrorists. I've killed a lot of people.
I mean, all the people that are mad at him about Sokovia, they're not totally wrong to be mad at him.
Well, yeah, he did create a murder bot.
Yeah. So...
But a lot of people forget that Bruce Banner also helped him create a murder bot. And they created a really good murder bot.
But only because Tony Stark peer pressured him into it.
Yeah, and because he pays all his bills.
Yeah, and Bruce Banner is just a sucker for peer pressure.
Yeah. Until he turns to the Hulk and, But now he's like hipster smart Hulk. But I've heard when he comes back in She-Hulk, he's going to be different.
Hopefully
that means he's going to be...
I appreciate Smart Hulk for one movie. But I don't.
That's a one-off thing.
I don't want too much of it. Yeah,
I want him to do like Immortal Hulk or something. Yeah. That'd be sick.
So,
yeah,
I put number 3 for Homecoming. What did you decide for number 3?
I put Far From Home for number 3.
So this is one of the ones.
Here's the toughest part.
We just swapped them.
Yeah, we swapped the other ones in the beginning. Here's the toughest one: deciding between number 2 and 1.
I don't think this is that hard. I thought it was 4, 3, and 2 that are the hardest for me. Number
this
1
is so hard for me.
I don't think is very hard for me.
For me, it's really hard, and it's in between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go through your thoughts here and explain your thoughts before I reveal my definitive 1 and 2 here, because I think I got it. I think I've decided. I think I know how I like these movies.
See, I don't even think we should be keep comparing these last two.
I have strong feelings about both of them, but
it's wrong to be comparing these last two.
I have strong feelings about one of them specifically.
This feels wrong, though.
It feels wrong. We have to, though.
I know we have to.
Our job is the Odd Drunk Podcast.
Yeah.
We promised you guys a definitive Odd Drunk Podcast list with a couple disagreements.
For me,
but
for me, number 2, this is really hard to say because I think it's amazing. It is one of the best movies I've seen. One of the best animated movies I've seen. So that tells you what number 2 is.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
It is arguably the best Spider-Man movie. And I will sit here and say that it is, but it doesn't feel... Here's my reasoning. Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse is amazing, but it's my number 2 because it doesn't feel like a solo... It's not a solo Spider-Man adventure. It relies on the Spider-Verse thing. Mm-hmm. It also relies on the amazing animation that it has, which makes it a really good movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I think as a Spider-Man movie, I want that solo Spidey adventure.
Yeah.
And Into the Spider-Verse isn't that.
Okay.
But it is amazing.
I put Spider-Man 2 at number 2.
I know.
I disagree.
I know you do.
I disagree. because Spider-Man 2, I think, is the best live-action Spider-Man movie, hands down.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, based on my list. Doc Ock is my favorite villain.
Yeah. Character actor.
Tobey Maguire is at his best in this.
Definitely, yeah.
The character arc is at its best in this. Into the Spider-Verse, I think, is not only the best Spider-Man movie, I think it's one of the best animated movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think Miles Morales' character arc
I
is
love Miles.
far better than any Peter Parker arc I've seen in a movie.
Well, I think
they handle it better. I think his leap of faith at the end is one of the best scenes in any superhero movie I've ever seen.
It could switch for me, but Spider-Man 2, I grew up with that.
Oh yeah, I totally get it. Again, it's so I don't think.
And also, it's kind of bad of me. It's kind of a bad habit. I usually do prefer like a really good live action movie over a good animated movie.
See, that's I used to be like that. I've veered away from that a little bit.
No, I don't think that's good.
I've come to really appreciate some of my favorite movies are animated.
I mean, there's a reason they're bringing Alfred Molina back.
Yeah,
in my opinion, he's the best Spider-Man villain.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. He's the best Spider-Man villain.
Really, it's so hard to rank these two because they're such different movies. Obviously, one's animated, one's not, and one is about the multiverse. One is just a really good solo Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Really, if I could make them tie, I would. I mean, it's close for me.
Yeah, it's
just, but for me, Spider-Man 2, I grew up with that. That was the Spider-Man 1. I was a little too young to. I mean, I liked it, but Spider-Man 2 is like that's when I was like, I like this kind of stuff.
Oh, same. Yeah.
You know, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, it's amazing. I mean, it's probably one of the best animated movies. I mean, I love the comic book style, like with the little comic dots in it, and like
Into the Spider-Verse
kind of choppy animation
is one of those movies that only comes out every few years.
Yeah,
that I walk out of the theater going, "Damn."
No, it's a visual.
That was good. I think
it's eye candy. It's pure eye candy.
I'll say this: I think the last movie before Into the Spider-Verse that I had this reaction with of like, holy crap, that was not just a good Spider-Man movie, that was just a good damn movie. Last movie I had a reaction like that was Logan.
Oh, definitely.
Logan was the last one that I can compare to Into the Spider-Verse of how I reacted to it. Of like, wow, that was
no, I mean, that was really, great. Yeah.
We
get a lot of memes from Spider-Man 2, though. Remember
we do.
That.
No. Oh yeah. So I mean these last two. So I'll say it wasn't hard for me to put Into the Spider-Verse as number one for me for various reasons, but that doesn't mean it wasn't close. Because Spider-Man 2 is I think it's one of the best live action superhero movies ever.
It shows what can happen when you get enough comic bookiness in it, but enough realism and just have fun with it. And it also benefits from a very Sam Raimi directing style.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole scene where Doc Ock, he's in the hospital, they're trying to remove his arms, and they come to life while he's just knocked out. And they're
it's almost
murdering everybody.
It almost gets into horror.
No, it has shot straight that remind me of Evil Dead.
The only reason it's not horror is because it's a superhero movie.
No, yeah.
And in context of the
I know Sam
scenes,
Raimi would have made it radar if he could have.
Yeah.
That whole scene, all the fight scenes are just amazing.
Yeah.
If you watch Spider-Man 2.1 or whatever to call it with the extra stuff, it has even more fight scenes. There's a kind of blaringly obvious sort of plot hole in it. I'll get to that. It's not really a plot hole, but it's just like common sense.
Yeah.
But see, they were going to keep all the fight scenes, but they thought it was too brutal originally.
Yeah.
Because like in one of them, Spider-Man gets just straight up slammed a train.
One thing I appreciate about
Spider-Man's just pummeling Doc Ock, which Sam Raimi took out because he thought, wait, people wouldn't believe that's possible. Because Doc Ock,
he's just a guy.
He's a normal man.
Yeah, he cannot.
He's a human man.
He can't take a full hit from Spider-Man. People forget how powerful Spider-Man is. When Doc Ock took over Spider-Man's body in Superior Spider-Man,
he
punched Scorpion's jaw like off.
Yeah. No, because Spider-Man's always holding back.
Yeah, because he didn't realize how tough Spider-Man is because Spider-Man is always pulling his punches.
No, always. But I don't think
I don't remember what he did. There's a comic line that I don't remember all the details, but Kingpin did something, and I don't remember what it was, but then Spider-Man just rolled up to Kingpin and just like
beat his ass.
Beat the shit out of him, basically as a, hey, here's just a reminder, I can beat your ass whenever I want.
Yeah.
He's like, I play with you.
Yeah.
because I'm a good guy and I don't want to.
You could.
I want to give you a chance.
You could argue that the arms are keeping him conscious.
Isn't there like a version of Doc Ock in the comics that he is just like a limp body attached to the arms?
Yeah, eventually, because he keeps getting knocked out by Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they showed he's had brain damage from Spider-Man.
But I think he shouldn't have landed a punch. But either way, that doesn't take me out of it too much. I mean, it's a guy with big mechanical arms fighting a spider boy.
Because when it comes down to it, in superhero movies, it's not the realism of the fights that we like. It's the character development and the superheroes and the
fun.
How these characters interact with each other. That's fun. So the great part about Spider-Man 2 is not the fight scenes, although they are really good. It's how Doc Ock toys with Peter.
Yeah.
And how Peter reacts to it.
And I love his whole redemption arc where he sacrificed himself to drown the sun and then he dies because he drowns. And then the whole scene where Spider-Man stops to train, even though it has some cringy Tobey Maguire face, it definitely does.
Yeah, but
that's a classic scene.
It's a classic scene.
And they pick him up. It's like, oh, he could be my son. It's like, no, he could be your friend. It's
so classic. It's one of the scenes they reference in Into the Spider-Man.
No, yeah, and they're like, oh, he could be my son. It's like, no, he could be your friend,
There
Gary.
are two main scenes they reference in the Spider-Verse from the Raimi-verse, and that's the dance scene because it's a meme, and the train scene because it's classic.
No, but here's the... you kind of answered my question. The main reason I'm putting Spider-Man 2 above Spider-Verse is because Into the Spider-Verse wouldn't be as good without that movie.
True, existing. Yeah. Into the Spider-Verse is building off everything that Spider-Man has.
It references that movie so many times when he's catching the train.
So, I think you're absolutely right because Into the Spider-Verse is a movie that is referencing so many Spider-Man. It's building off of Spider-Man comics and movies. And it wouldn't have... I don't think Into the Spider-Verse would have happened at all if not for all of the previous Spider-Man movies.
No, and that's kind of my reasoning, but you could come to me on a different day and I would say that's the best Spider-Man movie. It just depends on my mood.
Yeah, I totally get that. It is a very close one for me, but I do think that when it comes down to it, Into the Spider-Verse I think it's probably my favorite superhero movie, period. I think the only ones. I think there's only two that.
Okay, you got to consider The Dark Knight. You got to.
I was gonna say
Logan.
I was gonna say the only two that come close are The Dark Knight and Logan.
Yeah,
but I don't think they even quite.
Well, it just depends what. I mean, it depends. They're obviously way different movies.
Well, also you keep into consideration, Logan's not a superhero movie.
No, it's like
it's a western. It's a sci-fi western.
Yeah,
it's not a superhero movie. It's hard to say Dark Knight is even a superhero movie because Christopher Nolan is so weird. I don't know what to call it.
It's a post 9/11 thriller.
Yeah, it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
It's a post 9/11 Christopher Nolan movie.
I love to write essay at some point. I think it's still the best 9/11 movie.
Yeah. I was going to say, just for clarification for
like War on Terror
our
movie.
Listeners, if you are confused when Jackson says it's 9/11 movie, go home and watch the Christopher Nolan trilogy. And then think about it in the context of being movies that came out post 9/11.
Well, in The Dark Knight, Batman Bruce Wayne basically plays the role of like the NSA, like the government wiretapping, doing anything to stop terrorists.
Yeah.
And Joker is just the chaotic force of terrorism that cannot be stopped because the war on terror, quote unquote, is endless. It's never
the entire trilogy plays it.
But that's the whole thing.
The entire trilogy is really a commentary of post 9/11, the decade after that. Specifically, Dark Knight is the most obvious.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But the other two do play into it as well. Just go home and watch those movies with that in mind, and you'll see what we mean.
But no, it could go either way. But I gotta make my ranking, and mine is with Spider-Verse just barely coming behind Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, no, totally. I respect that.
And you get J.K. Simmons gets to have the most fun in this one.
He does.
There's a deleted scene where he wears the Spider-Man costume.
I've seen that. Yeah, I love.
James Franco gets to have more fun in it. It's just, and the whole movie, like, I mean, not the whole movie.
It's everything that was good about the other Sam Raimi movies, Spider-Man movies, all in this one.
Yeah.
You know, we Spider-Man 1 had a lot of good stuff. This movie keeps all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
And adds more good stuff and doesn't have the bad stuff like.
And I think Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, he's not too like over the top like Willem Dafoe, which I still love, obviously.
Yeah, I'll get you, Spider-Man.
He's a good blend of like he's an actual scientist that's trying to help the world. But
he feels like a real character.
But then you know when the AI takes over, then he's insane and robbing banks.
Yeah, I mean Willem Dafoe I really love, but he does feel like a
But that's kind of why he's so great.
Old school comic book.
That's why he's so great, though, honestly.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love him, because you don't see that very much.
No.
Movies try to take it too seriously sometimes, so having a I'll get you next time type of villain is fun. But Alfred Molina feels real. He is a real villain in this universe. He doesn't feel like a comic character all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
All the time.
But yeah,
there's a few scenes that he does.
Going back to Spider-Verse, though, it is just pure eye candy. I was super skeptical of it before
I was
it came
a little
out.
bit too. I was
because I was like, Sony, they did the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, I was a little bit too,
but when I saw it, it blew my mind. Loved the animation. Never seen anything like that in anime film. Blending 2D and 3D in a way that's not.
It looked good the entire time.
No, exactly.
Often when
because that often does not work.
When they try to do that stuff, there's a few scenes here and there that stick out, even if it's done well. This movie has no scenes that stick out to me. It was weird.
No, yeah.
Looking, they're all wonderful looking. I mean,
I love Miles.
Everything
I love
from
the jokes with Peter B. Parker.
Yeah,
and then
everything from there's not one bad voice actor performance in it.
No,
there is.
Nick Cage's Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, every single character has some type of character arc in it.
And also, we were talking about all this multiverse stuff. This is the movie that brought that to the forefront.
It is, yeah.
It's literally about that, without any explanation, really.
Every single actor in it is good. Almost every single main character has a story arc, even if it's small. Spider-Man Noir learns colors.
And you get all the great like comic book like BAMs and PALs and you know.
So it has its moments of just pure comic book goodness, and then it has its moments of Miles Morales, his arc with his dad and his uncle, and him taking the leap of faith is one of the best comic book superhero arcs in a movie I've seen.
No, definitely.
It is just it gets me every time. And I mean, also you take into account one thing I think that Spider-Verse has fight me over this way better you can't argue with it over the other Spider-Man movies is the music.
Oh yeah,
the music
of
Spider-Verse is just expertly used.
Yeah,
expertly made and expertly used.
Yeah.
Not that the other movies have bad music, because they don't. I mean, Spider-Man 2 actually has some of my favorite superhero music in it.
Are you talking about like the soundtrack,
the score, and how it's used? Not just the score, how good the score is by itself, but how it's used in the movie.
The Raimi trilogy score with Danny Elfman is the best Spider-Man score.
It's the best Spider-Man score.
Spider-Verse uses pop culture music. Like its soundtrack is the best.
Well. Being animated, I think they were able to use cinematography in a way that Sam Raimi couldn't have done.
Oh, it could have been done
in
that time.
I think Spider-Verse is a pinnacle of Spider-Man.
But I
movies.
definitely agree that Spider-Man 2 is the best live action one.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But I still kind of have that bias where I do prefer live action movies.
That's the only thing that made it hard for me. Was the combination of that and Spider-Man 2 is the classic that I grew up with. But in recent time, I've become less biased.
Here's something I'll
say.
say. Yeah. Because obviously we love both of them. I love them basically equally, but I have to put one above the other for this.
That's where I stand. I just find it easier to choose which one, basically.
Yeah, but here's what we both can agree on, I think. Yeah. If you've never heard of Spider-Man or anything, and you just want two good options or two movies to watch, watch Spider-Man 2 and then watch Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the best order to watch them.
Yeah, well, if
you just want an introduction to Spider-Man.
I'll just straight up say, if you can only watch one movie and you've never watched Spider-Man before, Spider-Man 2.
Well, yeah, because you would not understand Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because Spider-Man 2 is a classic superhero movie.
Well, and here's another thing about Spider-Man 2.
It doesn't require you to know a lot about
Spider-Man 2 and like that well, especially the first two, they were like the Christopher Reeve Superman movies to me.
Exactly.
They have that same kind of feel, like classic, like
that is exactly how I feel about them. So if you have
maybe we'll do a Superman movie ranking. That'd be fun.
Oh, that would be very fun because some of those are really bad.
Yeah.
There's more bad Superman movies than there are.
But the really good ones are like Superman 2's probably my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's in my top 5.
I recommend watching the Donner cut.
Yes, definitely the Donner cut.
Because the
well, it's Superman 1 and I love
theatrical
who's the actor that plays Lex Luthor? He's great.
In Superman in the original.
He's like a comedian from the 70s.
Oh, shit. I have to look that up. Who?
Lyle Talbot. But he's great.
No, Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. Then why is Wikipedia fucking...
It's Gene Hackman.
Oh, it's telling me then the 40 serials. I'm sorry.
Oh. I had to pull it up here, and you mentioned the name. I'm like, that's not who this says.
Yeah, it's Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, and the Donner Superman.
Yeah, those are fun movies. Those are a good example of movies that even the bad ones are still fun. With
Quest for Peace, I've never even seen that one, and I know it's bad. I've seen some of it when I was a kid.
I think they're mostly fun.
I've really only seen 1 and 2. But anyways, there you go. There's our rankings.
Yeah, that is...
and I said this was going to be a short one, but we always lie.
Yeah, we lied to you again.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have to repent and ask forgiveness. Oh, Spider-Man
does whatever a spider can. So he's he can. I don't know. He's a Spider-Man. Look out. Oh, and
he got the words wrong. You can't sue us.
Spider-Pig. Oh, and Spider-Ham is in Spider-Verse. It wins. I'm sorry. Spider-Ham
is great. I saw an interview with John Mulaney, the voice for Spider-Ham, and he said that so basically he got the role because he was called up and he was asked if he wanted to be in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't really tell him what it was because they couldn't tell him what it was because they wanted to keep it mostly secret. And John Mulaney is like a comic book fan, so luckily he knew what Spider-Ham was when they said Spider-Ham.
Nice.
But they called him up, didn't even tell him Spider-Ham. They just said, we want you for this role. Are you in? Like, come by. And they brought him down, and then they were like, it's Spider-Man.
Nice.
Yeah.
But there you go. We were talking about Spider-Man in our rankings.
Let us know.
Maybe we will update it when No Way Home comes out.
We will. We should probably do a very short update.
Let's do a short when we review No Way Home. We will do a short update on what our Spider-Man rankings.
Where the 9th movie fits in. If you disagree with our rankings, you can let us know by
go yell at us
by following us on Instagram, joining our Facebook group.
Do all those good things.
Links in the description. If you like what you hear, go onto Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. That's a good idea.
You could leave us a very biased review where you say, "Oh, I hated their ranking. Amazing Spider-Man 1's the best Spider-Man movie." You can do that.
I encourage you. As long as you give us 5 stars.
Yeah, because come on.
No, if you
Don't
like
hurt
what you hear, go to Apple
on,
Podcasts, leave a review, tell us what you think.
We're a small podcast.
Join
Don't
our
kill us like that.
Facebook group, and where you can post, and if you want, and leave us suggestions.
Leaving us a 1-star review is like shooting us in the back of the barn. Come on, don't do that.
On our Facebook group,
Even if you do hate
on our
us.
Facebook group, you can post and leave us suggestions if you like. If you join,
Yes.
post on the page even.
The Odd Drunk Pod Squad.
Odd Drunk Pod Squad.
Slowly but surely.
And follow our Instagram where we post all the cool pictures. Linktree in the description.
Yeah, for all of our platforms.
All of them. And we're on a lot of them.
Yeah, we are. It's nice.
Talking to some other people who have podcasts, like we're on more platforms than some podcasts are.
Thanks to Podbeam. We don't talk about them much.
Yeah,
but they make it really easy to get on all that stuff. But anyways,
if you want to start your own podcast, go to Podbeam and check them out.
But don't, because then you'll be competition with us. But I ask for it.
Then we will destroy you.
We will destroy you.
You'll get you next time.
Miscellaneous podcasters, and there's plenty of them.
If you want to become our podcast rivals, go on Podbean, make an account, and let us know that we are now your rivals, and we will become your rivals. But
and we will Willem Dafoe all over you.
Is that euphemism? I'm not comfortable
Just watch
with
The
that.
Lighthouse if you want to know what Willem Dafoe does in his bedroom.
Don't watch The Lighthouse. Go watch our episode on The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't actually watch a movie, though. Just watch the episode.
No.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Lighthouse.
Okay,
is great,
get out of here.
All right. Let's roll that outro.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends that you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To view all of our current available streaming and social media platforms, visit our link tree in the description below. If you enjoy the show, it would be appreciated if you leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, Colton, you can roll the outro now.